Hello, and welcome to Time Management Practice. Now, on this part, in the File section in Talent LMS, there's a PDF called Time Management Questions, and there's also a second PDF called Time Management Answers. Don't look at the answers one yet, but on the questions PDF, if you can, go ahead and pull that up, or if you'd like to print it out and work it as well, because the PDF has 30, as in 30 questions, and what we're doing is I'm going to be showing you how to work the first 3 questions. And then we're going to work on the time management part. Because with the AAPC exams, 100 questions, 4 hours, that breaks down to 2 minutes and 24 seconds per question. Now, I'll admit that as of 2023, I've not taken any exams under the new format of the 4 hours, 100 questions. Back in the day, it was 150 questions and 5 hours and 40 minutes, a whole lot longer. And the billboard after my name, if you will, that about the last half or so of the certifications that I've gotten with the AAPC, I would finish the time in about half the time. And actually quite often that I'd have to go out of town to take exams. I would usually book my flight. So then I would be just like, by the time the exam would be ending, the plane would be taken off, I'd be flying home. Because I'd be finishing the 150 questions still in the 5 hour, 40-minute time period. And about half the time, I was finishing them about 2:45 or say about 2:50. Now, what I'll be showing you is not how to finish the CPC exam in 2 hours, because if you did that, then you just worked it through, you got tired, and then said, screw it, and just did, say, see all the way down or something like after that. But I'm going to show you how I work the multiple choice techniques. So the first 3, I'll do straight together, just me first, and showing you how I work them. And then starting on question number 4 through 30, what we'll do is you'll work it first. Question, I'm trying to get the right answer within 2 hours and, I'm sorry, not 2 hours, not per question, 2 minutes, within 2 minutes and 24 seconds per question. So what I'm doing though is when you're working the question, I'm going to turn off my video, but the video you're watching itself will be still going for that 2 minutes and 24 seconds, meaning my camera will be off. And then, so that way, I'm just, looking at me and I'm going to start like, okay, while you're working the question. And then after 2 minutes and 24 seconds, I'll turn my camera back on, and then I'll show you how I would work the question out. And then we'll go through the answer then. Now, because this is an on-demand recording, if you finish in less than 2 minutes and 24 seconds, then you just got to write it out until the time period ends. But like I said, so I'm going over 1 through 3 together. Now, I have the questions in Microsoft Word, so then that way, where I'm sharing the screen to, so then that way I can work the questions out, and I can do highlights, underlines, and you can actually see what I'm looking at. And then when I'm looking up the code in the IC10, HCPCS, or CPT book, I'm going to be sharing my screen and looking at the questions for the codes, and then I'm switching over my screen, so you'll be looking at the coding book on your screen itself. So that way I'm not trying to look through a paper book and just hold it up, be like, hey, look at the book, and make it small, kind of blurry on your end. So I'm going to stop babbling right now, and starting with number 1. So when I work the multiple choice questions, I simply just call it the 4-3-2-1 system, meaning that with those ABCD multiple choice, remember the CPC exam, 100 questions, 5 hours and 40 minutes. I'm sorry, that's the old way, 4 hours. 100 questions, 4 hours. And all of them are all multiple choice, so all of them have ABCD options. If a code is in there 4 times, as far as my ABCD options, I know it has to be a valid code. Now, what I do though is, and I'll admit too, I've not done any exams as of this recording. I've not done any AAPC exams online. I know when you're taking them online, you can, like on your screen, there's off to the side a notepad you can type into. But see that if you're taking the exams in person, show how I would work it is when I look up a code, if I know the code is bad, as in I've looked it up, it's not the correct code, then what I do is I do a strike through. I don't go to town and I don't black out the code, because for one, it's going to take too much time. And 2, I may need to cross-reference that code, say if I really get stuck on something. So I just do a strike through. And then if the code is bad, If a code is good, meaning I've looked it up, yes, I know it's a valid code, then I do an underline over the code. I say that's my system. If you do a different system, that's fine. Whatever floats your boat. I'm not going to cry myself to sleep tonight if you don't do it the way how I do it, because you're watching this way after I recorded the video. But again, so with the 4-3-2-1 system, if a code is in there 4 times, it has to be good. And you're not going to see those as often. So looking at number 1, there's no code that's in there 4 times. Then in the 4-3-2-1 system, then I look up a code, how many codes are in there 3 times. There's no code here that's in there 3 times. If there is a code that is in there 3 times, out of the 4, as in 3 out of the 4 options has that exact same code, no matter if it's CPT, IC10, or HCPCS, then to me, the option that does not have that code in it, more times than not, that's not going to be the correct answer. Because, and I'll use the phrase, it's way off in left field. So I'll use that baseball reference. I don't mark the option wrong. I don't eliminate it out. I still want to maybe look it up, because on the rare few times, if a code's in there 3 times, rarely, but that can actually be a wrong code. Because when I look up a code for the first time, I want to be able to eliminate at least 2 out of the 4 options right off the bat. So in number 1, there's no code that is in here 3 times. So then I'm looking up if there's a code that's in here twice. Now what I'll just do is, because I'm sharing my screen here, I'll highlight, so I can reference, I'll say the blue highlight, kind of thing. So let's say, so we have 42825 is in there twice. That's the only code that's in there twice. And so again, I'm not saying that that's the right code, but I'm going to look up that code first, because if that is the correct option, like if 42825 is a correct code, then I can eliminate out Bravo and Charlie. I'm sorry, I'm Alpha and Bravo. I can eliminate out Alpha and Bravo. By the way, for the video here too, you'll hear me say the phrase Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. A is for Alpha, B is for Bravo, C is for Charlie, D is for Delta. I'll do that instead of saying, for example, D, because you may hear B. So instead of here, if I say D as in Delta, you may hear B as in Bravo. Again, so like I mentioned though, the first code I'm going to look up is 42825. If that code is correct, I can eliminate out Alpha and Bravo. If it is not correct, then I can eliminate out Charlie and Delta. So looking up that code, so switching over to my CPT book, and see we have 42825. Tonsillectomy, primary or secondary, younger than 12. Okay, so now I need to go and see what we're doing. So just tonsillectomy, younger than 12, that's all I care about. So we have 7-year-old, so that works out. And say, okay, they're getting a tonsillectomy. Now notice the two, I did not read the question first before I started looking up the code. And so now I'm just scanning for the words tonsillectomy. I see tonsillectomy here again, but in the sentence, it's regarding the antenoids, although not planned for removal, are removed following the tonsillectomy. So antenoids are also removed, so that's an important data point to look at. So far, 42825 looks good. And then, now notice I'm not eliminating out Alpha and Bravo. I've not looked up 42820 and 21. I'm going to look, though, on Charlie and Delta. I'm focusing on that because so far, 42825 looks good. Now then, when I'm left with thinking about those Charlie and Delta, 42830 or 42835. At this point, then, I go in ABCD order just so I don't get mixed up. So I'm going to look up 42830 first. And 42830, antoinectomy, primary younger than 12. And that looks like it would work for me. Except though, let's see. I'm double checking though. Nope, that's not going to work. So 42830 is not going to work. Because notice though, 42830, enterectomy primary. We have that word in there. And a primary procedure, that's the main reason why the patient went into the OR that day. Secondary procedure is, hey, they're there to do something else. Hey, while we're here, we'll go ahead and do the second procedure. So because 42830 is a primary procedure, that would not work out because in this case, the enterectomy is a secondary procedure. So 42830 is a bad code. So going to cross that one out. And then 42835, enterectomy secondary, younger than 12. Okay, so that could look good to me. So far, 42825 and 42835 looks good. And actually, this one I actually like. So you could think, though, the question would be delta. But a good rule of thumb to remember that no matter if it's procedure codes or diagnosis codes, no matter whatever it is, whenever you think you have the right answer, and it's 2 codes, but then in your ABCD options, if you have an option that numerically is close to there, it may just be 1 or 2 digits off, maybe 5 or 10 digits off numerically. But if you have a code option on the exam where you think it's 2 separate codes, but then ABCD options, you have another code in there that's close to it that's just 1 code, take the time and look at what that one individual code is. In that case, it could be a combination code. So with that being said, that I'm going to check out Alpha and Bravo, see if those are combination codes, because 42820 is close to 42825 and 35. So I'm 42820, 21. Tonsillectomy and enterectomy. There we go. Well, there it is. Younger than 12 years of age. So patients having both of those done, since the keyword there is and. So in this case, 42820 is actually the correct code because the patient is having both of those done. We just do the one combination code. Now, so if you'd have stopped at delta, say, okay, yes, that's the correct code, 42825 and 42835, you would have used one of your 30 freebies on that. But not taking just a couple extra seconds and seeing, okay, what's that one combination code available? And see if it works out. Now, good way for time management does not always work out this way. In this case, for number 1, it didn't. But a good rule of thumb is if you have to look up half the codes that are in the ABCD options, all the different codes you have to work with. If you end up looking up half or less, then that's good for time management. The times where that really is hard to work with, you looking up half the codes or less, is in this case number 1. That in this case I had to look up all the codes except actually the 42821. So we looked up 42825, 30, 35, and 20. So I actually looked up 4 out of the 5 codes. Now, true, and this is rare, but it would have worked out. Say if you just would have said screw it and just done it in ABCD order, you would have gotten the correct code with the first code, option A. But that just worked out though that in organizing the ABCD options, that was the first code. 42820 could have been option C, and option A could have been the 42825, 42830. You see, you never know how they be spaced out there. So that's number 1. I said I'm going to work out the first 3, then we'll start on the time part. So then number 2, a patient presents with a 2-minute. Okay, blah blah. Okay, so looking at the ABCD options, do we have any code that is in there 4 times? Nope. Do we have any code that's in there 3 times? Yes, we do. We have the 40510. It's in there 3 times. And we have 2 codes that are in there twice. 11442 is in there twice. And the 12011 modifier 51 is in there twice as well. So now, in this case, though, I'm going to look at C first. C as in Charlie, because I don't like how the Alpha, Bravo, and Delta have integumentary system codes. and Bravo Charlie Delta has a digestive system. I don't like it when they have multiple systems crossing over. Now, real world as well as the exam, you could have that as a correct answer. I'll say, though, more times than not, you're not going to have Oregon systems cross over like that. So I'm going to look at 40510 first and see if everything that I need to do is in that one code. But let's say that we had some other code here. Then with looking up the 4321 system, just like how we did for number one, the first code I looked up was 42825. If that's in there, great. If not, you always will be able to eliminate two options. The reason why I'm looking up number two, I'm looking up 40510 first and not looking up one of the 11442s to eliminate out two, or 12011 to eliminate out two. If I'm going to go with the green or the yellow highlights, is just because how, again, Charlie is just the 40510 by itself in the digestive system. So I'm going to look up 40510 and see what's going on and what's included in it. Okay, excision 40510, excision of lip, transverse wedge excision with primary closure. Yep, so in this case, the integumentary system codes there are most likely the closures. So we have a excision of a lip, transverse wedge, excision, primary closure. This, comma, this, comma, this. If I get all three of those, then I can just do that one code. So excision of lip. The provider decides to remove the lesion. So that's an important part. And so that's the excision of lip, removing the lesion, comma, the doctor did a transverse wedge excision, that comma, with primary closure, single layer suture repair is performed. So because I have all three of those, this comma, this comma, this, I have all three variables that I need, the one code is just 40510. I would not need to, and I didn't know, so I did not even look up those integumentary system codes. I'm going to assume that there are different types of closures. I would not need to use one of those codes, because if I did, I'll be double dipping on the closure part. Since closing up the lip, the single layer suture repair, how that is built into the 40510 code with primary closure. If it wasn't included in that code, then I would need to do a separate code. But I don't, because it's all in there. So number two is C as in Charlie. And now number three, and in this case, CPT and ICD-10. There's nothing that's in here 4 times, nothing in here 3 times. Twice we have a diagnosis code, K81.0. And we have all different procedure codes. So on this part, I'm going to look up, or like this, I'm going to focus on Alpha and Charlie, but I'm not going to look up the K81.0. Because I don't like looking up. Going straight to the codes, I don't like ICD-10 really that much. I like CPT more. But if you prefer ICD-10, you can go to that. First, whichever one your preference is for the exam. So I'm still going to focus, though, on Alpha and Charlie. But I'll look up the procedure codes. And I'm focusing on 47600 and 47562. Out of those, though, I'm going to look up 47562 first. And the reason for that is, that's kind of dark. And the reason why that is because if you scan the procedure codes, 47600 and 05, and then 47562 and 70. So I said, so I'm going to look up the 47562, and actually, I'm actually going to strike that. See, and there's something to do. I'll admit, I'm not going to edit this out. I just mislooked at the numbers. I thought that said, in Bravo, I thought that said 47650. And I'll admit I should live in area code 650, but also I'm a little bit dyslexic with the numbers. So watch the numbers, watch the numbers, watch the numbers. So I'm going to strike what I just said, because I was thinking that the procedure codes in Bravo, Charlie, and Delta were really close together. But actually, though, they're not. Alpha and Bravo are close together, the 47600 and 05. And then Charlie and Delta are close together, 475, 62, and 70. So I'm going to look at 47600 first and see what's going on there. 47600. Cholecystectomy, and that's it. Okay, so we have cholecystectomy. We have that, but we have we have laparoscopic. Nowhere in 47600 does it say laparoscopic. It just says cholecystectomy. So that tells me that 47600 is a bad code. So now, though, I'm going to look at the 47562. So again, I'm focusing on Alpha and Charlie because both those have the K81.0 diagnosis. And the other two diagnoses are all different. So then I'm going to look at the 47562. Hey, there is the other word I need, laparoscopy, surgical cholecystectomy. So that code looks good. Laparoscopic cholecystectomy. So 47562 is a valid code, making Charlie the correct answer. Also there, I did not look up any diagnosis codes. I don't need to because there's only one option that has the 47562 in it. And that's all the patient had. The patient had one procedure, and that also tells us why they have it, the condition the patient has. I don't care about any of that stuff. But if there was, then I continue on. But I don't. So out of those 47600, 05, and the other two procedure codes, and 3 diagnosis codes. So all in all, in number 3, there's 7 different codes between procedure and diagnosis codes. And we only looked up 47600 and 47562. So 2 out of the 7, that's still less than half. Still pretty good. Okay, so like I said, so starting up next though, for the questions, so I'm going to be timing it on my watch, or on my phone, and you working the questions. Don't start working the question yet. I don't just go back up just in case. Like I said, so even though you have it on the paper, and then so we'll do a question, and then I will turn off my camera feed for 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Then we come back. Then we will work it out. And we'll be doing that for questions number, and I'll be showing you how I would work it out. We'll be doing that for questions number 4 through 30. So number 4, ready and go. And now that we are back, so working on number 4 with the 4321, see, there's no code that's in there 4 times. There is one code that is in there 3 times, the J38.02. And we have 2 codes in there twice. 31561 is in there twice. And 31560 is in there twice as well. Okay, so in this case, Bravo's way off in left field because that has 32800. And again, and same thing too, I don't like how there's codes in the 3000 range, the 30,000 range, as well as the 60,000 range. So I'm not liking Alpha and Delta. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying I'm not liking them because they're crossing over organ systems. But in this case, though, and actually, although the 69990, I just happen to know is actually the operating microscope, which we are having done here. The operating microscope is being performed. And that's just me just remembering that 69990 code. So, but I'll tell you though, I'm liking though Charlie. Again, because so I'm not liking Bravo and Delta because the diagnosis codes don't match. That tells me that I don't like those procedure codes, the 31560. And it's just from common denominators, if I'm saying that phrase right. So I'm liking though the 31561 code because that has the J38.02 code both linked with it. So that's the first code I'm going to look up. The the 31561 code. Little mouse issue there. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so 31561. With an operating microscope or telescope underneath it, don't code 69990 with 31561. So I can already eliminate out alpha in that case. But what am I doing though? Whatever I'm doing though, I'm doing with my operating microscope or telescope. In this case, laryngoscopy, direct operative with aortotonectomy. Okay, so going back to the code to see what I'm doing. And I already know alpha is not going to be right because I cannot do those two codes together, 31561 with the 69990. So, but look at though, again, we're doing the laryngoscopy. So I'm looking for that phrase. Laryngoscope, laryngoscopy, laryngoscope. So I like that phrase. And we already know the 31561 has operating microscope built into it. But then we're also doing with aortotonectomy. Requires removal of the aortonoids. Medical terminology pronunciation. But that's what we're doing though. The laryngoscopy, laryngoscope, direct operative with aortotonectomy, remove the aortonoids, and then the KID code 31561 with operating microscope is validated. And I know I do not code it with the 69990 because that's parentheses underneath it. So so Charlie has to be the right answer. I'm not going to waste my time looking up the J38.02 because there's no options I can eliminate off with. And I'm not going to take my time looking up 31560, even though it's just one code above it, because I know that this, this variables, everything matches with 31561. So number 4, C is in Charlie. And out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different codes between procedure and diagnosis codes, got it in one code out of 5. Okay, so that wraps up number 4. Okay, so number 5, I'm going to put 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock, and you can work that one. Then when you're done, or I should say after the time, because this is on demand, after the time 2 minutes 24 seconds is over, then I'll turn my camera back on and we'll look at it. So go, number 5. And for number 5, see, there's no code in there 4 times, so there's no code in there 3 times. So codes do we have in there twice? The 50590 modifier LT is in there twice. And is that the same? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Modifier 51. Okay, so, and we also have the 52332 in there twice. Modifier 51, because on Delta, it's the second procedure. So, because we have 2 options in there twice, I'm going to look at the 50590 first and see if that's a valid code. Because again, if it is a valid code, I can eliminate out alpha and bravo. If it's a bad code, I can eliminate out Charlie and delta. So looking at the codes, again, so the 50590, let's see what code that gives us. 50590. Lithotripsy extracorporeal shockwave. Okay, so looking at then the question itself, lithotripsy extracorporeal shockwave, ural left stent placement, and extracorporeal shockwave therapy or lithotripsy. So that works. But okay, so I know 50590, that code looks good. I'm going to look up though the 52332 because I only have two. I'm sorry, I have two procedures. I only have one code selected so far because the word "and" tells me that this and that. So I'm going to look up the 52332 code because I still need a left ureteral stent placement for procedure. So then the 52332. The cystoscopy with insertion of indwelling ureteral stent. So, okay, ureteral stent placement. So that looks good to me. Then going back, the 52332 looks good since the doctor placed the ureteral stent. But like I mentioned though, check out combinations because notice though how the Bravo has the 52353. That's nowhere near the 50590, but the 52353 is close to that 52332. It's just 22 off. I already know it's not going to be alpha though, because it only has the one code in there. And I know it's not going to be Charlie because that also only has the one code in there. So I'm going to look up the 52353 and see if that is a possible combination code. 52353. With lithotripsy, ureteral catheterization included. Okay, well, we didn't place a catheter in. That's a KID code, and it goes up to what parent code? Hysteroscopy with ureteroscopy and pylorus. Okay, we have all these freaking scopies, but we don't have the shockwave. So 52353 is not a combination code. Bravo is not a combination code to Delta. Because the 52353 is missing the extracorporeal shockwave therapy or the lithotripsy. So I did look up 52353. That is a bad code. So I'm going to choose Delta as the right answer in that case. So now this example though, where I did look up, I end up looking up all the codes in that case. But that's one thing though, I didn't want to say I'm gonna just go with Delta and not look up Bravo. Because let's say this is question number 5, and let's say this is number 5 out of 100. You don't want to say for the next 43 questions or the next 16 questions, however many next questions, you don't want to think of that in the back of your head, say question number 6, number 7, number 8. Should I have taken the time and gone back and look up that one code, see if it was a combination, or just stay with the two separate codes? But let's say if question number 5 through 25, you're thinking that, then the next 20 questions, you're not thinking 100%, focusing on that one question. You're having question number 5 in the back of your head still. Should I have taken the time to look up that one code to see if it's a combination or not? Okay, so number 5 is Delta. Okay, so number 6, I'm gonna put the timer off for 2 minutes and 24 seconds, turn the camera off, I'm gonna mute myself, and then I'll see you back here in 2:24 and go for number 6. And now that there we go. Now I'm back now for number 6. So there's no code in there 4 times, no code in there 3 times, twice. Let's see, we got some diagnoses in there twice. And we have, let's see, that's in there twice also. Please give me some procedure codes that are in there twice. Okay, yay. Okay, that procedure code's in there twice. And none of those are in there twice. Okay, so right off the bat, I am liking Bravo and Delta because of those two options have the 57511 modifier 51 in there and the same diagnosis code also. So I'm going to focus on Bravo and Delta. So I'm going to look up the 58565 first and see if that is it. 58560. Oh, 58565. There we go. And let's see here. So 58565. Let's see. With bilateral fallopian tube cannulation to induce occlusion by placement of permanent implants. Wow, I'm not going to like this procedure once I look it up for the question. Okay, so we got that going on. And what's the parent code? Hysteroscopy surgical. Okay, so we're doing hysteroscopy surgical, and then bilateral fallopian tube cannulation. So let's go back to the procedure. Okay, so so there's the word hysteroscopy. So I like that. But also then with bilateral fallopian tube cannulation. So I don't see the word cannulation, but I see which happens to be just right underlined just because it thinks it's a misspelled word. But I see thermoablation, the intervention with cryocartery of the cervix. Nope. So I'm not liking the 58565 code because I don't see anywhere bilateral fallopian tube cannulation. So eliminate that one out. So I'm going to look at Delta now, the 58563, which just happened to be one code up. Yeah, one code up. So I'm going to look at the 58565. With endometrial ablation, such as resection, electrosurgical ablation, thermoablation. Okay, so I'm going to go back and look at that big fancy blah, 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 ablation word that I saw earlier. See those thermoablation. In this case here, and I am double checking the spelling, make sure it's spelled the same. Because remember how medical terminology, one letter can completely change the meaning of a word. So I want to make sure I'm not missing a letter, adding a letter. So THERMOAB. Yep, that would be, yep, so that works out. Hysteroscopy with thermoablation. I'm liking the 58563 code as a valid code, and because there's no other options that have the 58563, that's what I'm going to go with as Delta as my correct answer. Again, so without even taking time to look at the different ABCD options, because that's just the one code that I have. The 58563 is only in Delta in that case. So out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of the 8 different codes between procedure and diagnosis codes, getting it with just looking up one code in that case. So that's number 6, D as in Delta. And number 7, we put 2:24 on the clock. Number 7, and go. And yes, that time goes by fast, it seems like. So number 7. Okay, no code isn't. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at those doubles. No code's in there 4 times. Look at all these freaking doubles that we got. Twice and twice. Twice and twice. And I'll have to do that one purple. Actually, I'll make it gray. There we go. Okay, so what do we have here? Patient with displaced cervical disc undergoes a cervical laminotomy with partial fascicectomy. An excision of herniated disc. Okay, so we got more than one thing going on. We have the cervical laminotomy with partial fascicectomy. So basically, we have the laminotomy, and we have an excision. So we have a temporary incision and an excision. Rarely are those together in one CPT code. So I'm going to focus on Charlie to begin with. Because we're going to laminotomy, otomy, temporary incision, then an excision, we're taking something out. So usually it's going to be two separate CPT codes. And number 7, see, Charlie's the only one that has that. So I'm going to look up code 63020 first. See what's going on. 63020. So 63020, laminotomy with depression of nerve roots, including including partial. Look, I'm laughing because I'm. This is when focus looking at the word. So 63020. We have a laminotomy. Yeah, actually, I'm actually going to go back to the question and underline as I'm reading the CPT code, because you can see the CPT code in your book. So 63020, laminotomy, check. Or hemilaminectomy, okay, we have laminotomy, with decompression of nerve roots. Okay, don't care about that. Including partial facetectomy, with partial facetectomy, foraminotomy, we don't have that, and or excision of herniated invertebral disc. Excision of herniated disc. So in this case, for 63020, everything is in that one CPT code. This, comma, this, comma, this. And then 63020, one interspace cervical. C3 and C4. So we have that one interspace there. So I know 63020 is a good code. And in this case, though, I have all the procedures underlined. So meaning I can eliminate out alpha and delta. And because I have all the procedure codes underlined, there's nothing else that was done. I'm not going to waste my time looking up 63035 because everything I need is in 63020. So I'm going to eliminate out Charlie, and I'm going to go with Bravo as being the correct answer. I'm not going to waste my time looking up the M50.21 code because I just don't care. I have it with one procedure code. And there's no other options that also have a 63020 and an M50.21 to work with. That's it. So 7 is B as in Bravo in that case. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 codes altogether, procedures and diagnosis codes. Got it in one code, just look up the 63020, and that's it. So 7 is B as in Bravo. Number 8, a little bit of a doozy. We have an op report. Okay, so number 8, put 224 on my timer. And go. See, and number 8. So here I'm going to scroll down. I'll be going up and down a little bit just because the screen size. So unfortunately, though, we have 64493s on all the options. And then as far as so it's this radiology code stuck in there. And do we have no modifiers or modifier 50 or modifier 26 or both? So it's because 64493 has to be correct. And we have the procedure left. Okay, so right off the bat, because it just says the left side, all the procedures, I can eliminate out the ones with modifier 50 on there because it's only done on the left side. So that crosses out Alpha and Charlie. And now this is modifier 26, or no modifier at all. And I know this is going to sound really weird, but I'm going to go with D as in Delta. Because remember, modifier 26, professional component. And this is the doctor doing the procedure in the OR. So we would not use modifier 26 on the procedure. So D as in Delta. Without it, true, 64493 has to, again, that has to be the procedure. And yeah, that's it. So number 8 is D as in Delta. You can eliminate out modifier 50 because it's done on the left side. That's not done bilaterally. And it's done in the OR. And there's nothing in radiology that we're coding. We're coding for the joint injection, nothing path and lab. So I would not use modifier 26. Yep. So without looking up anything, just eliminate it out. Between the one procedure code, modifier 25, I'm sorry, 50, 26, and the radiology, looking at 4 possible options, looking up nothing, got D as in Delta. And that's one thing too. Let's say if you'd during the exam, if you'd have just started reading all this stuff, you can just kiss your 2 minutes and 24 seconds goodbye on that. So without looking up anything, I got D as in Delta for number 8. So number 9, I'll put 2:24 on the clock. Number 9, and go. And for number 9, so looking up here, 4, 3, 2, 1. So twice we have diagnosis codes. We have that twice. And we have that twice. And oh, darn it. Okay, procedure codes are kind of stuck on this one because how these are all different. So this is one of the times you just have to go in order because all of these procedure codes start with 623, and the last 2 characters, 50, 62, 60, 67, are really close to one another. So in this case, and the diagnosis codes are both 2 and 2. So I'm going to stick on the procedure code side, because I like to look up procedure codes more than diagnosis codes. So 62350, implantation, revision, or reposition of a catheter for long-term medication. Okay, what's going on here? Well, I need to see what's going on with the procedure. Patient place prone position. Okay, so they're getting the implanted, the pump for chemotherapy, and attached to a previously placed catheter. Okay, so looking, okay, let's see what we're doing. So we're doing implantation, that works. For long-term medication administration via external pump reserve infusion without laminectomy. Okay, so we're not doing a laminectomy. Nothing in there on that. I don't like the, so, okay, I'm not eliminating out 62350. What I don't like about it, though, is how it doesn't mention chemotherapy, and it doesn't mention how previously placed catheter. I think that'd be important. So I'm not eliminating out 62350 yet. I'm just saying it's not my favorite one so far. So now I'm going to go down to Bravo 62362. Programmable pump. I like that phrase. In the first line, receiving a programmable pump. Implantation or replacement device for intrathecal or epidural drug infusion. I'm liking 62362, again, because it has the phrase programmable pump. And they're implanting it. Implantation doesn't say for chemotherapy, but it says for intrathecal or epidural drug infusion. And so in this case, that would translate for getting it for chemotherapy. The drug infusion part, and it's programmable pump. So I'm going to go with 62362 then as a valid code, and I'm not going to look up Charlie or Delta in that. I did, but I'm eliminating out Alpha, Charlie, and Delta, and I'm going to choose Bravo as my answer. So 1, 2, 6 different codes there. 4 different procedure codes and 2 different diagnosis codes. And I got only look at the two codes. Okay, so number 9 is B as in Bravo. And 10, I'll put 224 on the clock, and I'll see you back here then. Okay, so for number 10, 4321 system, just one procedure code for each. So in this case, just working down ABCDs. Let's see. So we have 69644 with intact or reconstructed canal wall with reconstruction. Okay. And going back to the question, we're doing a tympanoplasty with a mastoidotomy with oscular chain reconstruction. So 69644, oscular chain reconstruction, check. And that is a KID code. Intact or reconstructed canal wall, nothing about that in the code. But then the parent code, tympanoplasty with mastoidectomy. And we're doing a mastoidotomy, not a mastoidectomy. So I don't like 69644. Because, and again, something, if you're going too close, mastoidotomy is in the question. CPT 69644 goes back to the parent code 69641, mastoidectomy. So, and it's the one thing I didn't say earlier though, but whenever I have ectomy, otomy, ostomy codes, I always take up 2 seconds and double check the suffix of it to make sure that's correct. Because your question could say mastoidotomy. You're looking at a code that says mastoidectomy. Just looking at it too quick, you may accidentally choose the wrong code. So, but I do know the 69644 is a bad code. So now 69636 with oscular chain reconstruction. If we have that, and that goes to the parent code tympanoplasty with enterotomy or mastoidotomy. There has mastoidotomy. So this, 69636 has all the options. So 10 is B as in Bravo. I'm not going to waste my time going through checking out Charlie and Delta. I just got B as in Bravo. So dogs out for that one. And then number 11, another lovely op report. And again, it's your ABCDs. So number 11. Here, I'm going to zoom out here just in case if you're looking at this all together. I'll put 224 on the clock and go. And for number 11, so 4321, nothing's in there 4 times, nothing's in there 3 times. Twice, 67015, we have, nope, double checking. Nope, I got that wrong. Okay, 6, 7, double checking these. So 65810 is in there twice. Nope, that's it. Okay, so for this type of thing, I'm not liking Alpha or Bravo. I'm not liking Alpha because that's way too many procedure codes. How Alpha has 4 codes in there, but the other 3 options just have 1 code in there each. And I'm not liking Bravo because the 65810 code is also in that code option that's really, really long. So I'm going to focus on Charlie and Delta to start off with. But the procedure, anterior vitrinectomy. So my CPT book, I'm going to look at 67005. Removal of vitreous anterior approach. Okay, partial removal. Okay, so we have vitreous anterior, but we have anterior vitrectomy. Okay, so I'm gonna look at Delta because Delta 67010 is also just one part underneath it. Because removal of vitreous, vitrectomy, and we have the word anterior approach. See, but then also 67010 subtotal removal with mechanical vitrectomy. So then, and we have the word vitrectomy there. Now looking then at the codes, so 67005 partial removal and 67010 is subtotal removal. And so when the doctor does an excision, if it is for the doctor to remove less than a full whatever organ is being removed, then the doctor will have to let us know, example like the word partial. If there's no mention of the word partial, that just part of the organ was removed in an ectomy and an excision, then we assume that the entire part was removed. So then looking at here, we have anterior vitrectomy. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scan for the word partial in the procedure paragraph. If I don't see the word partial, I'm going to go with 67010. If I do see the word partial, then I'm going to go with this 67005. And by scanning, that means say if I was doing my finger across or like say a pen or pencil, I'm going down like this fast. So there's reading, scanning, and skimming. Reading, you're able to retain that information. When you go to the next question, you don't want to do that. Skimming, you're going too fast, you're going to miss something. Scanning lets you know, do you have the word or not? But you have no idea what you just read, meaning you're not able to retain it. And nope, I don't see the word partial. So I'm going to go with the 67010 code. And out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of the 6 different codes, I looked up 2. So that's 2 still is less than half out of the 6 that we have. So that's how I worked out number 11. I'm going to go back and make my screen. I was at 220%. There we go. So that's how I worked number 11. So then number 12, I'll put 224 on the clock. And I will see you back here then. And for number 12, so looking at here, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, we have G24.5 in there twice. And that's about it. So looking at here now, like I said, so I'm going to look up CPTs actually. Because what helps me here is that, so far I like Bravo and Charlie, since that's exact same diagnosis codes in there twice. But then if you look at the procedure codes, how Alpha, Charlie, and Delta begin with 646. You have 646, 646, and 646. So I'm going to highlight just that part of the CPT code number. Since they're different codes, but they're close to one another. And then we have, so looking at that, so right now I'm liking Charlie as far as the code I'm going to look up. So I'm going to look up code 64612, just because as far as similarities, that we have it, that is in there 3 times. But then also look at how Alpha does not have modifier RT, but, oh, we should make that blue. But the other 3 do. So as far as the common denominators, Charlie's looking pretty good to me. So I'm going to look up code 64612 and see what is going on there. 64612. Oh, these big fancy medical words. Okay, the chemodernation of muscles. Okay, muscles innervated by facial nerve unilateral. Gradient is bilateral, add modifier 50 to it. Okay, so looking at the code itself. And I'm going to double check the spelling here again. Because again, remember, just the red wavy line just because Microsoft Word does not like the word. So I'm just making sure, though, it's the word I cannot pronounce. Saying it fast is, yep, so it's correct spelling. So we have the that chemodovernation word. And then muscles innervated by facial nerve, unilateral. And in this case, because it's in the right eye is in the face. So that works out, and then modifier RT. So I'm going to go with C as in Charlie, 64612, modifier RT. And that's it. So again, because we have that chemodovernation word, we have the modifier RT, and it says on the right eye, the eye, which eye is in the face, so that would make it work for a facial nerve. And so out of 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to count modifier RT because not every code has that. 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of 8 different CPTs, diagnosis codes, and modifiers, just looking up one. I'll say 2. I'll count 2 because I did say right. Okay, so 2 out of the 8. That's still less than half. Okay, so that's number 12. And then number 13, 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. And go. And for number 13, so 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing in the 4. Oh, we're so close. Oh, those H40s are, you have to check in. They're all different. So that doesn't help. And then, okay, how about the procedure? Oh, heck. Well, forget that. That's all. The only thing that we have is modifier 50 to help us out, where they're similar. Okay, so we got that, at least, so that helps. So we got something out of it. So modifier 50, and scanning for the word bilateral. Okay, we have both eyes, so both. That would mean for bilateral. So I'm not liking Bravo. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm liking Delta. And the reason with that is so for Delta, eliminating out the ones with the modifier 50. So Bravo, I already don't like that one because that one does not have modifier 50 in it. I don't like Alpha because that has 2 H40 codes. While, even though I eliminated out Bravo, but Bravo, Charlie, and Delta only have 1. So Alpha I don't like because, it has 2 H40 codes. Bravo I don't like because there's no modifier 50 to it. Charlie I don't like because that 66990 code's only in there once, so that's weird. So as far as what looks good, Delta. And so I'm going to look up code 66761. So like I said before, I'll say it again. I'm more of a CPT kind of guy, and also the font's larger to look at. 66761. Iridotomy by laser surgery, such as for glaucoma, per session. So iridectomy, laser, glaucoma. Those are keywords. Iridectomy, laser, glaucoma. Oh, there we go. There's iridotomy. There's laser. Look at that. And then I already have iridotomy, so don't need iridotomy, laser, and then glaucoma. There we go. Oh, well, there it is. 66761. I did look at modifier 50, so I'm liking that as well. So number 13 deals in Delta. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different code options with code and modifier options. And I only worked it with 2. I did verify modifier 50. And then working the system, I only looked up 1 procedure code, 66761. So 2 out of 11, that's definitely less than half. That's number 13. And now number 14. So I'm going to put, you're probably tired of me hearing me say this at this point, but I'm going to put 224 on the clock. And go. And number 14. So all that we have is Z45.2 in there twice, and 3 T80s, but they're all different. So this is me just knowing though that the Z codes are usually like personal history codes or encounter codes, usually like not active condition codes. So I'm not liking alpha to begin with, and I don't like delta because there's Z code that's listed first, and then there's the active T code. So this I'm just going to go alphabetical order. So unfortunately, I do have to look up diagnosis codes at this point. So let's see here. So we have T 80.211. See how far I can get. Bloodstream infection due to central venous catheter. It's taking this time pulling it up, but I can see there on the bottom right. Oh, there we go. Okay, yep. Bloodstream infection due to central venous catheter. Infection. So what's going on with the patient? Yep, well, there you go. Yeah, catheter-related bloodstream infection. And it also says the acronym there, CRBSI, which the acronym is actually, at least in the AAPC version, is also listed underneath it, CRBSI. So kind of like that on this one. Having B as in Bravo has the correct answer. But a little bit more, one's a little bit more codes, procedure codes and diagnosis codes here. So at number 15, so 2:24 on the clock. And go. Okay, so number 15, so 4321. Nothing in there 4 times. See, but 3 times we got 00561. And we have 99,100 in there 3 times. And Q22.4, which sounds like a radio station to me. But we have that in there twice. Oh, let me do yellow. So it's better on the screen. There we go. Okay, so right off the bat, I like Alpha and Bravo. I don't like how the 99,116 is in there, just in Charlie. And Delta I don't like because 00562 is only in there once, and it's Q21.0. Even though Charlie's Q22.3, it still leaves the Q22. So I like Alpha and Bravo. And so I'm just going to look up 00561 first. What's going on there? See what's going on there. 00561. Anesthesia. Pump oxygenator, younger than 1 years of age, but parentheses, not report 00561 in conjunction with, and there's 99,100. So yep, pump oxygenator, younger than 1, do not use 99,100. So let's see what's going on. Younger than 1, patient's 8 months, so check. The heart lung machine is used, pump oxygenator, check. And I do not use 99,100 with it. So 00561 works. And I know I did not use 99,100 with it. So in this case, it's got to be alpha. So number 15 is A as an alpha. And I only looked up one code out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of 7 different codes, and I looked up one, the 00561. Okay, so that's it for number 15. And then number 16, number 16, 2:24 on the clock. And go. And number 16, sorry, 60-year-old. Okay, so looking at here, 4321, we have nothing in there 4 times, but we have nothing in there 3 times, but twice, 47,100. And and then 47,000 we have in there twice, and those procedure codes, they're all different. Okay, crap. I mean, darn it. But however, though, I'm liking Bravo and Delta, because they're all modifier 26. Actually, I should say that's in there 4 times. But notice how numerically in Bravo and Delta, 77012 is in there once, and so is 77002 is in there once. However, though, even if there's every single digit is used between those 2 codes, then at most they're just 10 codes away. So they are close to one another. So, but then we have 76942, that's way away, and 74150, that's way, way, way far away. So I'm going to focus on Bravo and Delta. And then, like I said, how I do it, just go in an ABCD order in that case, so I don't lose track of where I'm at. I'm going to go with 77012 first. Path and radiology. There we go. CT guidance for needle placement. Radiology for interpretation. Do not report. Okay, so I'm in the 47,000. Okay, I'm good with that. And then 47,000. It's not on that list there. Nope. Yeah. Remember too, whenever you have parentheses after the code, you do want to double check them. So 77012, I could use with 47,000. So the code itself, we have a CT guidance for needle placement. CT guidance needle placement. Was part of the CAT scan suite of limited CT images of the upper abdomen were performed for the biopsy needle placement. So right there, 77012, that looks good to me. I'm going to go with it. And because that is the only one that has 77042, then I'm going to choose B as in Bravo. There. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of 6 different code options, only looked up one code. Now, true, if let's say Bravo and Delta were reversed, then I would have looked up 77002 first. So then that would have been wrong. Then I'll look up 77012. Again, if Bravo and Delta were reversed. So that still had me, though, 2 out of 6, which is still less than half. So pretty good on that time arrangement. And then number 17, 2:24 on the clock. Again, 2 minutes and 24 seconds, not 2 hours and 24 minutes. 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. Number 17, and go. And for number 17, 4, 3, 2, 1, all of them have modifier 26, and they're all different CPT codes. We only have one CPT code to work with. So in this case, I'm just going to go in ABCD order and see what we get. So looking at 77761, pull that up in the CPT book. Intra cavitary radiation source application, simple. Okay. Kind of weird words there, but let's see what's going on. So I'm looking for intracavitary radiation source application, simple. There's intercavitary application, placing, same thing. That works out. And simple. Okay, I don't see the word simple anywhere. So I'm going to pause on 77761 and go to Bravo 77762. Same parent code, just intermediate instead of simple. And I don't see the word intermediate anywhere. However, I do see, though, 6 applicators are inserted. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that that is not going to be a simple procedure. If it was something like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually, not even that. Say me like 1, 2, 3, I would say simple. Anything kind of 4 and more, I'm going to gear towards the intermediate part on there. But everything else matches out. We just don't know if it's simple or intermediate without additional resources. And because we don't have 77763 on there as an option, the complex version of it, to get that number 6 for 6 applicators, I'm going to go with 77762, modifier 26. And spoiler alert, that is the right answer. So that's for number 17. But a little bit nicer, though. Number 18, here we have it. We're back to we need to work the process of elimination tools on there. So I'm going to put 2:24 on the clock for number 18. And go. And for number 18, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do we got? Okay, 88305 is in there 3 times. However, only once. I'm sorry, twice. Twice with modifier 26, and one without it. 88304 is in there 3 times. 2 with modifier 26, 1 without, but one of the modifier 26s has times 2 units. So let's see, what are we doing? Because so I'll say right off the bat though, I like Bravo and Delta because it has the 2 different codes in there. But I like Bravo more because of modifier 26. So I'm going to go because modifier 26 is in there 3 times. So I'm going to look up though the codes. See 88304. Surgical pathology. Okay, so 90 locations. What are we doing? Gallbladder and a biopsy of the duodenum. Okay, so I need surgical pathology for the gallbladder and the biopsy of the duodenum. So 88304. Okay, 88304 gives me the gallbladder, so I know that's a valid code. Then biopsy of the duodenum. I don't see duodenum. I don't see the word biopsy. So 88305. I don't see the word biopsy, but I see the word duodenum, comma biopsy. So the gallbladder is 88304. So that's a valid code. Actually, here, I'm going to color code this because with issues with the modifiers and units. So I'm going to color code. Gallbladder is 88304. Biopsy of the duodenum is 88305. So we know alpha is out because that only has 88305. And we know Charlie is out because that only has 88304. Modifier 26 or not. Pathologist is self-employed, so the pathologist is not employed by the facility. So yes, we need to add modifier 26. So that would make Bravo the correct answer because both those code options have modifier 26 on them and Delta does not. So 18 is Bravo. B as in Bravo. In this case, yeah, we did have to look up both codes, but at least though both codes are in there 3 times. Kind of thing. Okay, number 19. Number 19. We're almost 2/3 of the way there. So number 19, 2:24 on the clock. And go. And number 19. So 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a lot of 2s in here. I51.0 is in there twice. And Q21.0 is in there twice. And 93304 is in there twice. One with modifier 26 and one without. And 99312 is in there twice as well. So I love it when this happens. And modifier 26, I'll highlight that, is in there twice. So this is occasionally rare, but it can happen where it's like this. So you just have to go ABCD order in this case. That's how I do it because nothing we can. I have to look up something that's in there twice. So I'm going to go ABCD order like I always do then, and then 93303, 93303, transthoracic echocardiography for congenital cardiac anomalies complete. Okay, so a lot of keywords I got to look up in there. Congenital heart defect. Okay. Congenital cardiac anomalies. So congenital heart defect. I like that phrase. Orders a transthoracic echocardiogram. Okay. Hey, we're doing pretty good. And it reads the interprets indicates. Okay, so the neurologist reads and interprets the study. So the neonatologist did not perform it, but just read it. So I'm like in 93303. The issue though is the modifier 26 in there or not. So I'm going to cross out Bravo and Alpha. I'm sorry, Bravo and Delta. I'm going to cross out Bravo and Delta. And okay, I'm going to word it like this. I know the answer is Alpha because I'm sorry, Charlie. Sorry, I know the answer is Charlie because of modifier 26 because the neonatologist read and interpreted the study. So nothing that says that the technologist actually performed it as well. So there's no technical component to it, just the how do you say, the professional component to it, just reading it and interpreting it and typing up the cute little report at the end. So I know it's Charlie because of that with modifier 26. However, though, if you're confused on it, if you're wishy-washy, notice how Alpha and Charlie have different diagnosis codes. So I'm going to switch over to the ICD-10 book and I'm going to look up code Q21.0 to confirm. Ventricular septal defect. And yep, looking at their ventricular septal defect. Yep, so I can eliminate out Alpha. In this case, we did look up the Q21.0. We know that's a good code, making Charlie the answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between codes and modifiers, 5 different options there. I got it in one. I'm sorry, two. Modifier 26 in there. So look at 99303 and modifier 26. If you had to look up Q21.0, 3 out of 5 still good. A little bit more than half, but you can't get 2.5 codes. So that still works. And so 19 is C as in Charlie, and number 20. So I'll put 224 on the clock. 224 on the clock, and number 20, go. Now for number 20, 4321, and there is no code in there for times, 3 times, and okay, I'm coloring a lot here. So 1025.81 is in there 3 times. And Z99.2 is in there 3 times. And N18, close, but they're different 4th characters. So it's not there 3 times, but I12.0 is in there 3 times. And then twice, we have N18.5. And the procedure codes, 90945 is in there twice. And 90947 is in there twice as well. So here, I'll do red. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm liking Charlie. And the reason for that is, even though I have one code that's not highlighted, the N18.6, first of all, just one character off from the patient having the N18.6 and then the 2 N18.5s. But then look, the blue, green, and the yellow, those codes that are in the different 3 options, Charlie's the only one that's in there all 3 times. So I'm going to start with focusing on Charlie. And the difference, though, being the N18.6. So that's the code I was going to look up first. Here, N18.6. We switch over to the, there we go. And let's see here. End-stage renal disease, chronic kidney disease requiring chronic dialysis. Use additional code to identify dialysis status, Z99.2. Okay, so then going back to the question, end-stage renal disease, end-stage renal failure, check. So that part is good for me. And also the N18.6 code that we saw also needed a Z99.2. So going back into the question, we have the N18.6 code. We know that's a valid code because patients in end-stage renal failure. And it does follow the add-on code rule, Z99.2. And there's no other options that have N18.6 in there, in the ABCDs. So I'm going to eliminate out Alpha and Bravo and go with Charlie in that case. And that's the only option that has N18.6. Don't need to look up any procedure codes. Don't need to look up any other diagnosis codes. So right off the bat, we have 1, 2 procedure codes, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different diagnosis codes. So altogether, we have 8 codes, procedure and diagnosis codes. And I got just looking up the one code, N18.6, which is 1 out of 8. Even if we count the Z99.2, no, I didn't go back and look it up in the actual back itself, but I saw it on N18.6, they use additional code rule. So even if you count that as 2 out of the 8, that's still less than half there. So that works out for number 20. Only have to look up really just one code, and that's it to get that right answer. And then coming up next, number 21. And I will put 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock for number 21, and I'll see you back here in a bit. And go. And for number 21, so with the 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Nothing's in there 4 times, 3 times. See, we have J05.0. I see that 3 times. And then R21 is in there 3 times. And that's it. So right off the bat, what this is telling me is I'm liking delta, because with the 4, 3, 2, 1 system, the ones that are highlighted, showing all the options as far as similarities, is D as in delta. And this being diagnosis codes, so I'm going to look up those codes. J05.0 and R21, I need both of those for delta to work. If not, then I would have, depending on which one I don't have, we'll go from there. So see, J05.0, acute obstructive laryngitis or croup, one of the two. Remember, I said I don't like to use language. Croup. Yeah, I'll go with croup. Okay. Anyways, acute obstructive laryngitis or croup. What's the patient's got? She's diagnosed with croup. Okay, so that validates the J05.0. And then what is R21? R21. Ooh, patient's got a rash. Or other non-specific skin eruption. So one of the two. A rash or some kind of skin. To look at a rash she has developed on her leg. Yep, there we go. And she got the rash. So right there, that validates delta. And because alpha only has the rash, Bravo's only got the croup, Charlie's got something else added, whatever the R05.9 is. I don't care. I'm not going to bother looking it up. So D as in delta would be the correct answer. So now in this case, though, we do have 3 different possible codes. I'd have to look up 2 of the codes. So occasionally, though, that does happen. We have to look up more than half if we're very minimal on the codes that we have to work with here. And so that's how number 21 works out. So number 22, I will put 2:24 on the clock. And you will work it yourself first, and just like all the other ones, then after that, I'll say hi and come back, and I'll show you how I would have worked it out, and see how close you were, kind of see if we're linking in the same way there. So number 22, 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock, and go. And number 22, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, so Alpha and Delta are really long codes, but 5 codes each. Bravo and Charlie, just 2. I'm sorry, 1 code each for the 2. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So actually the differences are, I'm just going to highlight those all the same, because those are all the same after that. And then G03.9 is in there twice, and so is the G00.9. So kind of weird how two of the options are really long and two are not. So that tells me, though, that probably the highlights in blue are signs and symptoms that the patient is coming in with or presents to the doctor with, and then the green and the yellow are definitive diagnoses. So I'm going to look at J00.9 first, because ABCD, then that code is first. So G00.9. Bacterial meningitis unspecified. Okay, so we have bacterial meningitis. Okay, I see the word meningitis, but I don't see the word bacterial. The ED reviews the results and the patient is admitted in the hospital for meningitis, which is suspected to be bacterial. So it's not going to be G00.9, because that is a bad code because it's suspected. And admitted into the hospital for meningitis. I'm not going to bother looking at the G03.9. I'm just going to call it as being a right answer, because patients coming in with just one condition, as far as it being admitted, just meningitis, and the ABCD options, alpha I can cross out because that's all four of the diagnosis codes. I only need one diagnosis code. So because I eliminated out G00.9, the correct answer has to be G03.9 without even looking that code up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different diagnosis codes possible. And I got just looking up one code, the G00.9. I did not even need to look up the actual condition the patient has for this case. Just working the multiple choices there. So that's number 22. Then number 23, put 224 on the clock. And we are a go for 23. And for number 23, so 4321, Z18.11's in there 4 times, so it has to be valid. And now then, see, we have then the differences. H44.741, 641, those are different. And the S05.51D and the X. So in the case, alpha and delta are really close to one another, and so is Bravo and Charlie. The only difference is that Charlie being the initial encounter, 7th character A, and then the 7th character D, and Bravo for subsequent encounter. And then alpha and delta are close, just character number 4 is off. So in this case, I'm just going to, this one's where it's kind of luck of the draw. So I'm going to start, though, with H44.741 and see what we get on that one. Let's see, so H44.741, retained old, retained non-magnetic old foreign body and posterior wall of globe right eye. Okay, so let's see what is going on here. Retained magnetic iron metal foreign body posterior wall of the right eye. So I need magnetic. Everything looks good in that except I need magnetic. But H44.741 is non-magnetic. So that tells me that H44.741 is not valid because I need magnetic and this is non-magnetic. But so that's the only difference. So I know H44.741 is a bad code. So next though, I'm going to look up H44.641 because that's close enough. I just need to change the magnetic part of it. So H44.641. Let's see if I can. I may give you a headache scrolling back here. Okay, retained. Hey, whoop, there it is. I'm bringing the song back. Whoop, there it is. Retained old magnetic foreign body posterior wall of globe right eye. Yep, so that's the correct specificity that I need. So H44.641 is a valid code, making delta the right answer. I'm not even going to look up Bravo and Charlie in those cases. and I'm going to call it there. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out of 5 different diagnosis code options possible, got it looking up 2. H44.741, not right. Close, I needed H44.641. So 2 out of 5, still less than half. On that one for number 23. Then coming up next, we're on a roll here. Number 24. Put 224 on the clock for number 24 and go. And for number 24, so 1, 2, 3, 4. What we have here is nothing is in there 4 times. So 3 times. Close the S02.2XX A, S, and then D. So that's close. So I'm going to highlight this, but I'm going to leave off the last character number 7. So that makes a difference. And then let's see what else we got here. T79.22X A and D. So same thing, but we have them twice. Just the 7th character is different. And that R04 just there for the heck of it. So looking up, I like. Actually, you know what? I'm going to call it. Alpha, without even looking up any codes. And just looking at this. Because remember, 7th character A for initial encounter, D for a subsequent encounter, and then S for sequela. And here, they have a nasal fracture, bleeding is controlled, they apply the splint, patients at home. Return to the ED 7 hours later with a new bleeding from both nares due to the fracture. The provider had to repack the nose and insert splints to stabilize the fracture. So the patient still has a fracture because it's stabilizing. So, because notice I'm coding for the second ED visit. So this is what we're coding for. I'll just highlight this yellow for purpose sakes. Had to repack the nose because, and then for the bleeding, and then also insert the splints to stabilize the fracture. So the doctor is actually doing something, a repack and inserting new splints. So it has to be initial encounter because the patient's not healing yet. If they were, we're okay, patient would not be coming in and have other work done. So we're still in the initial encounter phase because the doctor is actually doing something to treat the patient for that second visit. And the only ABCD options that we have for the 7th character A is option A is an alpha. So out of 1, 2, 3 different codes, 3 different modifiers, so 6 altogether, looking up 0 codes to get number 24 correct out of that case. So that is number 24, 0 out of 6 is pretty darn good, less than half. So then let's go down to number 25. Put 224 on the clock and go. And number 25. So 4321 Z3A.39 is in there 4 times, so that has to be valid. And then nothing else is in there 4 times. 3 times. 063.2 is in there 3 times. Actually, and so is the 080. Just caught that, but they're in different orders, so that could be possible part. And then there's the 080, and then the Z38.00 is in there twice, and so is the Z. Oh, this is a lovely one. So it's the Z37.0 is in there twice. Okay, so looking at here, the element I like Alpha and Charlie because there's only one O code in there. O, as in O for OBGYN. And I don't like how Bravo and Delta have two of the options in there. So what I'm going to do is, though, because remember, when you look up a code, you want to try to eliminate 2 out of 4 options. So I'm going to look up the Z38.00 and see if that's a valid code. Because if it is, I can eliminate out Charlie and Delta. If it's not, I can eliminate out Alpha and Bravo. So we have, let's see, the Z, oh, let's see, there we go, Z38.00, single live newborn infant vaginal delivery. And single live, okay, so what's going on? And see, no, so see, so it says, report on the maternal record. So the patient does have a healthy baby girl, and she's born vaginally, but we're coding for the maternal record, so we're coding for the mom. So we would not have the Z38.00 on the mom's record because the mom is not a single live born infant that was delivered vaginally. The baby was, the baby girl. So Z38.00 is a bad code. And now give me Charlie and Delta. So then I need to eliminate 1 out. I'm gonna look up the 080, and if that is in there, my answer is Delta. If it's not in there, my answer is gonna be Charlie. So 080. Encounter for full-term uncomplicated delivery. And actually here, if you look at the notes, so 080, definition greater than 37 weeks, but delivery requiring minimal no assistance without fetal manipulation. Basically, baby just pops out, if you will. Okay, and number 25 is admitted for precipitous labor. Oh, nope. So that would eliminate out 080 as a valid code. So 080 is bad. Yes, precipitous labor. It was not meaning it was not an uncomplicated delivery. So because we took out Alpha and Bravo for the Z38.00 being bad, because that goes to the baby's record, not the mommy's record. And we're coding for the mommy. Delta eliminated out because 080 is bad. Encounter for full-term uncomplicated delivery. And the mommy had a precipitous labor. Eliminate that one out. So number 25 would be C as in Charlie in that case. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different codes. And I looked up 2 of them. Z38.00 and the 080. And that got me Charlie, number 25, C as in Charlie, 2 out of 5, 40%, still less than half. So that's number 25. We just have, 6 more left. Number 26, back to CPT. Yay, finally. So number 26, put 2:24 on the clock and go. 26. And number 26, let's see. So 4, 3, 2, 1. What do we got? Nothing's in there 4 times. 3 times. We have 20610. Modifiers are different, but at least the CPT code is the same, 20610. And nothing's else in there 3 times. Twice, we have 26055. And modifier F6 is the same on all of them as well. Let's see, and nothing in there twice else. So right off the bat, I'm liking Charlie, because modifier 76, repeat procedure, modifier 51, multiple procedures. Kind of weird having a non-repeat procedure, like the 26055, with the repeat procedure, 20610. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the 20610 as being valid, and I'm going to look up the 26055 and see what's going on there. 26055. Let's see, tendon sheath incision for trigger finger. Tendon sheath incision for trigger finger. So I'm looking for, okay, I see the term trigger finger. So then I'm looking for tendon sheath and the word incision. Incision is right there. And made over the transverse incision of the skin to tissue. And I don't have the word tendon sheath, but I do have the phrase, this incision was taken through the skin and subcutaneous tissue. So that lets me know it went through all the layers of skin. We went farther, deeper down. And so that validates there. So 26055, making that a valid code. And there's nothing, and I'm scanning here, there's nothing that for the 20610 that would let me know that that part was done previously. And like the patient presents to the OR, it's not the patient returns to the OR. So that would let me know that modifier 51 for multiple procedures would be valid. So I'm not going to look up 20610 because that's the difference between alpha and Charlie. So there, eliminate out alpha because that modifier 76. Bravo goes away because the 26055 is a valid code. And so does delta go away because 26055 is a valid code. So for number 26, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting modifier issues, I count 6 different options to work with, eliminate out, and looked up 26055, and then figuring out modifier 51. I'll count that. So 2 out of 6, that's still less than half. So number 26, you could easily have gotten that done within 2 minutes and 24 seconds as well, doing it that way. So then coming up next, number 27. Again, so I'm going to put 224 on the clock. And you are a go for 27. And for number 27, so we have 4, 3, 2, 1. What do we got? We have a lot of S82s, but the 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. The S81.22, and I'll take off the 7th character there. And then the S82.102, we have that twice as well. But again, the 7th character being different. And then the 27224 is in there twice. And so is the 27722 in there twice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because in this case, you can pick any one out of the 4, really, that you want to work with to eliminate out. And I'm going to eliminate out, though, I say, because like, I'm more of a procedure code kind of guy. So I'm going to look at 27724 first and see if that works. 27724. With iliac or other autograft includes obtaining graft and repair of non-union or malunion tibia. So repair of non-union or repair, comma, non-union or malunion, comma, tibia, comma, with iliac or other autograft. So I need 4 variables I need to match up. Okay, tibia. I see tibial fracture. There is now a non-union, so that works out. There's a non-union. Left proximal tibia. Okay, so then are we doing I now looking for the word iliac or other autograft. With bone grafting. Cool, okay, we're getting there. Iliac crest. Okay, yeah, so 27724 looks good to me. So that is valid. So I'm going to eliminate out Bravo and Delta. in those cases. And I had to look. I had to look up diagnosis code. Okay, so let's see what we got on there. The S82.112 or 102. So I'm going to go ABCD order. S82.122. And I really notice I can really just focus on the seventh character if I need, since alpha is seventh character N, delta is seventh character C. So I'm going to just scroll back and find my seventh characters. And subsequent encounter for open fracture type 3A, 3B, or 3C of non-union. That was with non-union. So we have previously treated for the type 3A, check. And non-union, already got that check. And open reduction, check. So seventh character N makes it valid. I'm not going to bother looking up the S82.102C. So that would make A as an alpha valid in that case. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Between different procedure, diagnosis codes, and modifiers, 7 different options to try to eliminate from. And got 2. 2, 7, 7, 24. And the diagnosis code, 7th character N. I said, notice the two, like I said, when I had the IC10 book up, I didn't go back and actually see if S82.122 was correct. I just scrolled back to look at the 7th character to see if that matched there. Since alpha had 7th character, again, 7th character N as in Nancy, and delta had the 7th character C as in Charlie. That makes it for number 27 and number 28. Number 28, get the timer ready for 2:24 on the clock, and go. And 4, 3, 2, 1. What do we got? Okay, nothing's in there 4 times. 3 times. 29879. One's first, one's second, and another one is first. And nothing's in there 3 times. Twice. We have 2988. So I'm liking alpha because all the other ones only have a code in there once. So since alpha is the only option that has the same code in there, let's say both the codes that we have twice listed, alpha is the only one with that option. That's why I'm liking that answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up 29881 first. That way I can eliminate out 2 options by looking up that code. And let's see here, 29881 with meniscectomy, medial or lateral. Okay, so keyword or, it's in all caps. 29881. Okay, meniscectomy, medial or lateral. Parent code. What are we doing? What are we doing? Arthroscopy of the knee. So arthroscopy of the knee, and then with meniscectomy, medial or lateral. So that's the code that we're working with. Let's see here. So arthroscopy, knee, meniscectomy, medial or lateral. Knee. Okay, cool. So that keyword. I'm scanning those. Arthroscopic procedure, arthroscopy. Cool. So I need that goes to the parent code. I need the kid code. Meniscectomy, medial or lateral. Medial. That works good. Medial meniscus, meniscectomy. I'm looking for like excision or removal. Proximal medial distal femur. And we see the word medial again. Yes, so there was debrided using a shaver. So including debridement of the cartilage in the code. Yep. So 29881 is valid since the 29881 says including debridement, shaving of articular cartilage. So 29881 is a valid code. That eliminates out Bravo and Delta. And like I said before I started this, I said that alpha was going to be the answer, just based on the similarities there. Depending how you're doing on time for the exam. If you're not good on time for the exam, I would just choose alpha and just go with it. Since Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, both all three of those have the 29879 code, and Delta does not. So we have the left field one. So more times than not, Delta, that kind of Delta answer is not going to be the right answer. But if you're okay on time and just want to double check 29879. Let's see, 29879. 29879 with abrasion arthroplasty. Includes chondroplasty when necessary, or multiple drilling or microfracture. So I'm looking for the term abrasion, arthroplasty, drilling, microfracture. Again, so abrasion, arthroplasty, drilling, microfracture. Multiple holes were placed. Yep. So there we go. So that would validate the 29879. Making Delta the wrong option. But again, I would have just, at that point, after validating the 29881, I would have selected A as an alpha without even looking up the 29879. Since more times than not, that's going to be the correct answer, since the 29879 code's in there 3 times. And the 29877 is only in there once. So technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different codes. I technically could have stopped at 1, but again, just comfort level, even if it would have looked up 2, still less than half of the codes to work with there. For number 28. So then number 29, only got 2 more, and then that'll be it. So I'll put 224 on the clock for number 29. And go. And for number 29, so 4321, what do we got? So nothing is in there 4 times, 3 times, 3, 1, 2, 31. Different modifiers, but still the same code, 31231. And diagnosis. Oh no, double checking. We do have one that's in there 4 times. J32.4. Hashtag my bad. I just got that, so let me put that in there. J34.2. I'll say J32.4. J32.4 is in there. That was in there 4 times. Okay, and then again, then 3 times. Nope. Okay, so twice. J37.1 is in there twice. So it's J41.8 in there twice. And then what else we got? Procedure codes 31575 is in there twice. And 31576 is in there twice. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to go with alpha as being the answer, because that's the one that has everything highlighted. But also, I don't like that modifier 50 in there. Because more times than not, a procedure is not done bilaterally. So either that or the procedure code itself could have bilateral in the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on alpha and Bravo, because Charlie and Delta has too many codes that are not highlighted, like the J02.9 in Charlie, Delta, the J37.0, and that 31237 code. So I'm going to focus on alpha and Bravo, but I'm going to look at the 31231 code first and see if I need to put modifier 50 on that sucker or not. 31231. No, I do not put modifier 50 on it because nasal endoscopy diagnostic, unilateral or bilateral. So I would not put modifier 50 on it because you cannot bilaterally do a bilateral nasal endoscopy. Last time I checked, we have 2 nostrils. I am not an alien or extraterrestrial from Star Wars or Star Trek, whichever you prefer. I'm more of a Star Trek, but you like Star Wars. Anyways, we have 2 nostrils, not 4. So modifier 50 has got to go. So that would eliminate out Bravo because of modifier 50. So if I was taking the exam, and if this was a question, I would go with Alpha. And that's it. I would stop looking up codes. But if you still want comfortable levels, though, to make sure on it, then what I would do is then working with Alpha and Charlie after that then. So officially for the record, I would stop here, choose Alpha. But if you are good on time and will double check, then you can either look up the J02.9 if you prefer diagnosis codes, or you could look up 31575 if you prefer procedure codes. I'm going to look up 31575 since we're looking at that code. Again, 31575. So if that code is valid, then I'm going to go with Alpha. If it's not valid, I'm going to go with Charlie because the 31231, how that's in there 3 times. So again, so I would officially stop now, but if you're good on time and just want that comfortableness of it, so 31575, laryngoscopy, flexible diagnostic. So do we have a laryngoscopy as far as the code? Okay, there's that endoscopy and flexible laryngoscopy. So there's the 31575. So that validates that there. So we knew that 31231 was valid and no modifier 50 is needed. We just looked at 31575, making Alpha a valid code. And also eliminate out Charlie and Delta. But so out of that one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different codes and modifiers to try to eliminate through. And I officially stopped at 1, but even we double checked, that's looked up a second code. That's still just 2. I'll count the modifier 50 on there. So looked up a code and verified the modifier. So 2 out of 10. So I got it with 2 out of 10. If you would have looked up 31575, then that would have been 3 out of 10. That's still less than half. So that's still good on the timing for number 29. And then so notice what I did too. I have no flipping idea what diagnosis if those are valid. I don't care. I was able to eliminate that based on the procedure codes. So number 30 for the last one, I'll put 224 on the clock. For number 30 and go. And for number 30, so 4321, what do we got? So nothing is in there 4 times, 3 times, 32552, modifier 51. So we got that 3 times. So right off the bat, I'm not liking Delta in that case. And nothing. I see C34s, but they're different. Okay, so nothing else in there 3 times. Twice. 32551. 32551 is in there twice. Different orders, but still there twice. And T85.79XA is in there twice. And that's about it. Okay, so here I'm liking Bravo. And this is why. Even though Charlie has more highlighted as far as the similarities. But if you notice, though, just the category, just the first 3 characters, the C34s. The 4th and 5th characters are different, true. But as far as C34s, there Charlie's the odd one out. Alpha, Bravo, and Delta have C34s. Charlie, C78s. So highlighting just on the category there, that's why I'm liking Bravo on there. So now then for a process of elimination, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up C34.31 and 32. So even though with that, I can only eliminate one out, but I'm not going to look up T85.79XA, which normally we would want to look up a code that we can look it up twice to eliminate 2 out of the 4. However, though, it's these that catch it. So because if I look up T85.79XA, if that's a valid code, then I still have to look up a C34 or a C78. So I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase, and I'm going to look up C34.31 and 32 first. And again, and I'm looking up that one first because 3 out of the 4 options have a C34 in it. And let's see, okay, ICD-10 book, and switch over. So we have C34.31, okay, malignant neoplasm of lower lobe, right bronchus or lung. Okay, so malignant neoplasm, lower lobe, right bronchus or lung. So I'm looking for lower lobe, the word right, and then bronchus or lung. I don't have right, but I have bilateral. So bilateral, check. Lower lobe, lung cancer, okay. So if it's bilateral, it has to be on the right side, but also has to be on the left side also. And it's just one code down, so then the other one, C34.32, malignant neoplasm of lower lobe, left bronchus or lung. And notice how there is no bilateral code option. We have unspecified, 0.30, right, 0.31, left, 0.32. So that's it. We have no bilateral code to choose from. Patient does have malignant neoplasm of the lower lobe. Because the patient has it bilaterally, I have to use the 2 codes, C34.31 and 0.32. ABCD options, that's the only one that has it in there, making Bravo the right answer, and eliminating out Alpha, Charlie, and Delta there. Oh, move that back up. So, and that's it. So looking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 different code options in there between procedures and diagnosis codes. Total of 13, and I got it looking up at 2. Out of the 13, that's definitely less than half. So like I said, so that's 30. Just 30 questions on this practice is about, I don't know, about 3 hours or 3 days, it seems like, for this video here. But again, I hope you learned some techniques as far as working on time management for the CPC exam. So that way then you can definitely finish your 100 questions in that 4-hour time period. And that's about it from here. So on behalf of all of us here at Ohana Coding, we do thank you for participating in this education today, and hope you have an awesome rest of your day.